Did you have to crack your knuckles before
Yes, because sometimes when I get excited for things, I crack my knuckles a little bit, just as like a nervous thing.
Oh, I do that just
right?
in general.
But I was so excited for the sultry baritone sexy intro that you're about to give, the ASMR that you were about to bestow into the ear holes of our listeners, that I was just excited about it. So please give it to us.
Okay, I'm going to give it to you. Hold on.
Give it to me.
Let me get into position here. I lost my slipper. It's all right. I'm going to put the intro in now.
Nice.
Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon! Bacon is my... Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my...
This episode of Bacon is My Podcast is brought to you by DrinkWhilebillz.com, GrillYourAssOff.com, Poddex.com,
Yeah.
Manscaped.com, where
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
get 20% off and free shipping by using the promo code,
Bacon Pod.
and Mythical Beards, where you can get
15% by using the code BACON15 on all your beard accoutrement.
check out baconismypodcast.com for all of our specials and promotional codes.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
Dude, this week was a bit wild.
Yeah. Cool week of shows. I will say.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is after the fact, but so like this week of shows is really cool, but moving forward from that, we're going to be in DC this weekend.
Yeah.
And
That's gonna be
you're
fun.
you're gonna hear that episode before you hear this.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
So it's like the past talking to the future and talking to the past.
Inception. Is the top still spinning?
Exactly. But yeah, I'm super excited for this episode because we talked to a model, a musician, but just like overall, like just a fucking real person.
Yeah, you can put a lot of
Labels.
a lot of labels on her, and a lot of people do, and rightfully so. And she is an ambassador for a lot of different groups, and things, which is awesome. And we get into some of that, but I think the most important thing to say about her is that
she's Natalie Nootenboom.
Yeah, and she's super cool.
I think that is number one.
Yeah,
right
that
there.
is number one.
Because she can be a lot of things, and she can be the torchbearer for a lot of things, but she is her.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So what else you got going on this week?
What else do I have going on this week? Well,
we had a really cool conversation with
Natalie.
with each other.
Yeah,
and Kate Katz on the drinks and discussion.
Well,
episode.
that was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, is it a couple
this
weeks
point.
ago? Shit. No. Well, spoiler. It was tonight.
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was a cool thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now that
Indeed.
you've heard it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The
The Twitch stream, man. I love the Twitch stream. I love doing it. I know that it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but
It's definitely not.
to the people that enjoy. Listen, when Silverstein did their podcast about their record, Misery Made Me, where they were like, let's do a deep dive into each song. And they played the demos, and I loved it. When Thrice was like, hey, Artist in the Ambulance Revisited, let's do a fucking podcast on it.
right.
Man, I love that podcast. I don't want it to end. I know it's only got like 1 or 2 episodes left. But man, I fucking love that shit. But we're doing it. We're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of creating a record and doing it as we speak. So on Thursday nights, 9:00.
Yeah.
Go to twitch.tv.com. I'm sorry. Go to twitch.tv/baconismypod.
Yes.
We're writing music. We're not just writing music. We're rewriting music.
Yeah. I don't know at what point, as a listener, whenever you listen to this, I'm not sure at what point we are in this process, but I will tell you from the actual point where we're sitting right now, we've only done 2 of these episodes. They have been super cool. They've been pretty raw. And I'm anxious, I'm excited, and I'm terrified of what we're going to do with the rest of them because I have no idea. And we're just going to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the writing process. I love the recording process. And I am terrified of the song, like the show aspect of things, and I know that it's the complete opposite for you.
Yes.
So
exactly.
So
the
for
opposite,
me,
which is
like,
hilarious.
But now you've added the camera to it, and I'm like, fuck.
Because now it's a show. The whole thing is a show.
Now it's all a show.
Now the whole thing is a show.
You know what? If you want to see us at our most vulnerable, and
right,
like we talk about a lot of shit on the show. If you want to see us at our more vulnerable,
in the music sense,
while
we're writing,
go for it.
Check it out.
Twitch.tv.
See if you like it.
So yeah.
If you don't, cool. Don't watch it.
Yeah.
If you do, cool. Watch it.
Exactly. So we've talked a lot.
Yeah, let's get in with Natalie.
Natalie Nootenboom.
Here we go.
Right about
now.
Hey.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Bacon is My Podcast, where today we're joined by a model, a musician, a overall really interesting person who we're going to talk about a lot of things, especially based on her 7 questions, which if you haven't listened yet, go back to the episode prior, prime yourself, then come back here. Even listen to this intro for a second time.
As you should. You got a sweet vocal fry happening right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I listened to a podcast with Melissa Cross.
Yeah.
Today.
Okay.
Yeah. I was finishing up. Our buddy Tori interviewed her on their podcast. So yeah, I love that. But anyway, everybody, welcome to Bacon is My Podcast. We've got Natalie Nootenboom here. What's going on, dude?
How are you?
Everything. But I also want to say, Melissa Cross is actually one of my coaches.
Mine too.
Vocally.
Melissa
so
Cross.
I love her.
Mine too.
When you mentioned her, I was like, yes!
Melissa Cross is
She helped.
fucking dope. I actually started doing Zen of Screaming. That's how I learned. It's not how I learned how to scream. It's where I learned how to scream properly.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you are probably the best that I know personally.
Oh, well, thank you.
That is able to do that style of singing, which is incredible. Melissa Cross changed my life with one lesson.
Yeah,
I went and did a lesson with her, and I had sent her, and I'm sure like you kind of maybe had the same experience, Natalie, where you send her some stuff of you singing. I sent her a couple of my records, and I didn't think she was going to even listen to them. I was like, yeah, I'll send them because whatever. And I showed up, and she immediately started talking to me about my songs and what my voice was doing in them and how I was using my voice. She told me that I was, I always thought of myself as a certain, in the mindset of, I guess, chorus, which was the only thing I had to go by in school, was I'm like a tenor because I sing high, right? And I kind of get up there, and she was like, no, you're not. You're a baritone. You should be warming up this way. You should be doing this way. It doesn't mean you can't sing high. It just means that the quality of your voice is this. And changed my world. What was your experience working with her?
So she did the same thing with me, and I was like, well, I'm a deep singer.
Right.
And she's like, actually, you're a soprano, and you should probably sing higher. It's easier. And I was like, okay. And then the biggest thing I took away from her, because first of all, this was interesting. I've been trying to scream for fucking 5 years. I had a metal EP come out in like 2017. I re-released it. And like I had to layer my screams just to get them to sound big and full. And it was so embarrassing because one time I had a TV crew come in and try to film me screaming and I couldn't do it. And that's when I was like, oh, I need to learn better. But I just realized like screaming is probably just not for me, but she helped me realize that because she was like, no. Like, I'll teach you how to scream later, but your voice, I want to work on your voice. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, fuck screaming. Let me teach you how to sing. Because like your voice, there's something there. And I was like, okay. And then she taught me pressure flow, which changed my damn life. Like I used it yesterday when I was recording and I was like, wow, what a fucking game changer pressure flow is.
She is the shit.
Yeah.
Everybody remember Above the Pencil.
Above the Pencil. Yes. We are so out of focus right now.
Yeah, it's okay. We're mostly an audio show. There you go.
Is that what I got to do every time? I just do that.
Maybe. It's like the light, like the movement light that you have on the outside of the house. Oh, we're playing basketball. Oh shit.
Turn it on.
But yeah, Melissa Cross is awesome. But so tell us a little bit, because one of the things that we were going to ask is so you've got covers out so far. Mm-hmm. Do you have original stuff coming out? And what was the thought process behind releasing singles of covers and even a typo negative EP of covers? What is the whole what's the thought process behind that?
Well, for me, basically, my strategy was, I don't have a fan base yet. And so why don't I just cover a song that already has a fan base that I want to attract? Mm-hmm. So I did a pop song, I made it rock, and then I did a rock song and made it a little bit pop. So it's like an interesting mix there. And so I was drawing in, different fan bases that already exist, right? And so I was like, so these people can be like, oh, I care about that song. But if I release an original song, no one's going to care about it yet. So if I release covers, people already care about those songs. So they're going to be more interested in listening to them. So that was kind of my thought process behind that. And I am working on original stuff. I get asked all the time, like, what's your next cover? And I'm like, I'm not doing one. Not yet. Because I really want to just get my actual writing and my voice and like my style and message out there next. And I'm really excited about that.
I mean, you
maybe
tackled...
in a couple years, maybe in a couple records, she'll put out that Dr. Feelgood cover that she's threatening about.
Yeah,
I've seen on a couple things.
I once opened a show. I opened a Halloween show, dressed as Motley Crue, with Dr. Feelgood.
Nice.
Yeah. I apparently look pretty damn good in J-Lo pants. White jeans. They were J-Lo women's pants. But they look like Vince Neil pants.
I can't tell you how many times that I went and purchased pants in the ladies section of places, because those pants, while I will say, and I'm on the side of every woman out there, put real pockets in the fucking pants.
Oh yeah, that was a mind fuck.
Why? Why would you just put the view of a pocket in the pants? Fuck that. Put a real pocket in the pants.
Yeah.
Right? But man, they fit your ass nicely.
Yeah.
They got,
they certainly do.
Shapely butt pants. But guys' pants, they don't do that.
Curves. Women naturally have more curves, so they're more accommodating. And I guess, they're not as functional because it's really just to make your ass look good. So that's why they fake the pocket.
But see, you know what? As a guy, I want my ass to look good. Right. I want my ass to look good. What the fuck?
I don't keep anything in my ass
I'm
pocket.
not just for function. What? I got a jacket with pockets. That's where I put my
we have a man bag
with the fur. God damn it!
we have a Merce. now. I have Merce now because of you.
Yes.
So I'm fine, but I still want pockets.
I am a man bag
just in case
having motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, I have so many bags.
But back to the cover thing,
right?
Like
covering a Motley Crue shirt. I just realized.
There you go.
There. All right.
What made you choose Rocket Queen? And like we're in bands and we argue over covers all the time with our bandmates. So we're in two different bands and the same band, but like you argue over covers and stuff like that. And Guns N' Roses comes up all the time, and to go into a Guns N' Roses cover and go, well, I'm going to tweak it to be more me. Did it all like a fan backlash, or because you said you like people care about the songs? I want people to listen to them because they care about the songs, and that'll attract that audience to me, and they'll
you were just wiping out my future questions.
Yeah, no problem. So putting your twist on a classic like Rocket Queen, were you at all like worried about a fan backlash or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why I disabled the comments, because literally, like, for the first hour, it was just people being like, what is this fucking EDM? Your voice is so synthesized. What is this? Why is there synths on a Guns N' Roses track? And so I was like, oh, fuck it. Like, I don't want to think about that. I just want to focus on my album without any distractions. So yeah. I disabled the comments because it's like, who gives a fuck? But I mean, I'll leave them on like in the future, but for the first, big release like that, I wanted to have like the peace and quiet, not to stress about that. But that is a good question. And I'll say this, like, I'm a firm believer, like the reason how I found my sound is basically I was going through every song I've ever loved and I was trying to cover it. And I was like, really thinking about what makes a good cover. And to me, it's if you have nothing to bring to the table in terms of something new, if you can't put your own unique spin on it, you can't make it new. And it's just like, another rendition of the song, right. Then don't do a cover. Right, the reason why I love Like a Virgin by Motley Crue is because that song is so different from the original version. Mm-hmm. And it adds a new flavor, and it's like makes you rethink the song. It gives a different perspective on it. And so I chose Rocket Queen because I was able to give a new perspective on it. And I did that also with Feel Me because it was giving a different perspective on it. Because when you hear the two different songs, like the original and mine, it's completely different. Yeah. And that's what I think a really good cover should do, is give you a new perspective on a song that already exists and that people love.
I love that. Interruption!
I was going to do the hold up. Hey. But that was better.
Nice.
There's no time like today to take care of your hygiene.
Indeed.
And one of those things that can help you, if you're a man or a woman even, Manscaped. Manscaped can help you with their lawnmower 4.0. Yeah. Their Lawnmower 4.0 has skin-safe technology. It's a ceramic blade. It's waterproof. It's got a nice little LED light, so this way you can see underneath all those crevices.
Shave your privates in the shower in the dark. Don't actually do that.
Don't do that.
But you could.
Yeah, you could with Manscaped.
Because you have a light.
Indeed. And for guys, listen. The perfect package 4.0 is like where it's at for you guys. Because it comes with not only the lawnmower, not only the weed whacker for your ear and nose holes.
Well, we got one. So bring it up real quick. What you also get, for one, you get the lawnmower 4.0, which is ceramic blades. It's not going to cut you. It's got a guard so you can, make sure that you got a trim in some spots. You got to the skin in other spots. You make sure that beanbag's shiny. We also have some...
Package that beanbag in...
underwear.
The underwear.
Yeah.
It's got the little ball pouch.
It does have the ball pouch.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's great.
Separate. It's technology.
This right here...
I like this.
Is for when you are shaving your balls. Yeah. It's little placemats, so this way...
It's like a newspaper.
Yeah. But then you just... You shave them, you crumple it up, you throw it away. No mess, no huss, no fuss.
Yeah.
right?
It's also got some. It's got some fun, funny articles in it.
It does. Well, it does when you read
I recommend you definitely read it, but not while you're shaving your nuts.
No. There's the ball deodorant.
Yes, I use it every day. Crop preserver.
And the crop reviver.
I don't use it every day, but I have used it plenty
of times. It is pretty fantastic. You need that midday spritz.
Yep.
Just go for it. Freshens you up right away.
Who doesn't love a little spritz on the beanbag?
Exactly. And where do I keep it all? Well, right here. The shed, baby.
You know what? The shed is a pouch for the things to clean your pouch.
Exactly.
Right?
I use it personally for my toiletries when I travel.
You do? I've seen it.
I've got multiple. I've got a few of them.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. Go ahead, manscaped.com. Use the promo code BACONPOD.
You get 20% off this entire order plus free shipping. Not only can you get the Perfect Package 4.0, but you can sign up for their program where they will send you new stuff automatically.
New blades.
Every month, every 2 months, every 3 months. You decide what you need. If you need new blades every 3 months, they'll send you new blades every 3 months. If you want to check out maybe the crop mops.
I can't talk about the crop mops enough.
They're my favorite thing.
Yes.
Get those every month.
When you come and you hang out with us and we see you and stuff like that, we always have crop mops on our person. So
yeah, it's like a business card, but for Manscaped and not us.
Yes. So go ahead, manscaped.com, promo code BACONPOD, 20% off, free shipping. Call it a day. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I always tell my band, like, I refuse to do a cover. I will always do a remake.
Yes.
And that's kind of my mindset going into it. Is like, if we're not able to add something to it that at least I think makes it cool, that adds an element of cool and different to it, then I'm kind of like, why do it? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? All I'm doing then is I'm doing a worse version of a great song.
Yeah.
You know, because no matter what, no matter how good you do it, you're either going to do it as good as the artist, which you're still not the artist, or you're going to do it worse than the artist.
Right.
So it's like you have to kind of approach it with like, okay, how can I make this mine? What if, so every time we do one, it's always kind of like, okay, here's the progression, here's the melody, here's the lyrics. Now, if I brought this in as a song, how would we make it? Versus like, you know, like, and it's tough sometimes when you're dealing with other musicians because they're like, oh, this part has to be there. And I'm always like, why? Why does that part have to be there? Or why does it have to be done on the same instrument? Like you said, you got some shit for like adding like synth and some things to it. It's like, no, it's like, if that's what you're hearing, then that's what you should do. And that's what art is. So to ask the question that I'm going to kind of still get it in there because I thought it was worth it, and he didn't quite get all of it with your question, was why do you think... So rock music to me has always been rebellious. And it's always been about expression. It's always been kind of it's been androgynous at times. It's been, you know, like within the artists that are doing it, there's this openness to everything, to all these experiences, and there's very few like closed doors when you're talking about the artists that are making it. But for whatever reason, the audience tends to put up these barriers around it, like it has to be a certain way. Like, why do you think that? Why do you think that is? It's something that I've noticed, and I just think it's kind of weird. And like you said, you were getting
talked about that.
You were getting some backlash of like, you know, why would you put this in it? And you know, even you're a girl doing a Axl Rose song. What the fuck? You know, like or whatever number. I mean, you're a girl doing rock music, which inherently, for some reason, some people have issue with.
Right.
Which I've never understood, because we can point to there would be no rock like we know it without so many of the female artists that have paved so many different ways.
Right.
And so many different I mean, it's fucking crazy to me that you would like look at the Runaways and look at
Blondie.
Look at Blondie. Look at Alanis Morissette. Look at all these incredible female artists. So why do you think the audience is so, like, I guess, protective of things that the artists themselves are probably the most open about?
I would say that rock is a very interesting genre. I mean, you know, before the song came out, I was interviewed, and the guy was like, "Are you prepared for backlash?" And I was like, "Huh?"
Right.
I was like, "Okay." And then he was like, "Yeah, because it's not like a very warm, huggy genre." And I'm like, "No, you're right, definitely." I mean, just seeing like how some of my idols, the Butcher Babies, were received, Maria Brink from this moment were received, I was like, holy shit, you know? But to be honest, it's like rock, it has an audience, it has a fan base, and I don't want to talk too much shit because that's my fan base a little bit, you know?
Ours too.
Ours too, yeah.
And I'm ready to talk shit about them, fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, clearly they're not my fans if, you know, they hate Sense.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if you got a closed mind, you're not a fan. Fuck you.
Right.
Yeah, you're not a fan. Like, to me, my fans are truly open-minded people, and they want unfamiliar. They want new. They want refreshing, fresh, new, you know, leading edge. And, like, a lot of the rock audience is just not evolving, is not keeping up. You know what I mean? It's like people who are very closed-minded, and they're, like, kind of like purists, you know, they're like, if it's not like this, then it's not real rock, you know? And to me, I'm like, what's real rock?
They're so crazy.
What's pure about rock? Like, the word pure alone suggests clean.
Right.
And rock should never be clean.
Dirty.
Well,
it's rock
It should
and
be
roll.
dirty and rough and a little rugged, and it might cut me, and there's probably going to be an infection involved.
Well, that's the other thing too that I don't get is, especially like rock, metal, punk, you know, like hardcore, that kind of stuff. Even when I was in like my bands way back, we were just not heavy enough for the hardcore punk scene, and we weren't heavy enough for the metal scene. It's like, wait, but isn't rock supposed to be this rebellious, different thing? Like, I'm not sitting here doing something that's crazy polished or anything like that.
Right.
But, like, isn't it supposed to be different? Isn't it supposed to be against the grain?
It's anti-establishment by nature.
Right. It's supposed to be anti anything for a reason, and you're shunning me for not doing exactly what you do. Don't your ears get fucking tired? Like,
rock and roll is like a term that they use to describe the sex that they wanted to make sure that no one was having. That's
right.
That's where the words came from.
Right.
Right? It was like, this music's going to make kids want to smoke reefer and have sex. And it's like, no, they already want to do that. This music's just going to give them a great soundtrack while they're doing it.
It's going to give them a nice mixtape.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's all. And don't we all deserve that? I think we all fucking deserve that.
I agree.
No, but you said something there that I was like, yes, because, you know, I was thinking after I read those comments, I was like, you know what? I can't win. And, you know, I was talking to my metal mentor, Mary Zimmer. She's also one of my vocal coaches. And she was saying, she's like, you can't win. I'm sorry. Like, as a female, especially, you can't win. And I was thinking, I'm like, if I can't win, that means I've won. Because that means I'm truly doing something different and I'm not people pleasing, and that's fucking rock and roll if I ever heard it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not doing it right unless you're making somebody mad.
Yeah, exactly. When I had haters, I was like, great. I made it.
Say it all, baby.
Yeah.
Say it all.
Yeah. So
shameless plug.
Nobody's ever mad at us. Like, we're...
No. I'm doing a shameless plug for you.
Yes, I appreciate the shameless plug, though. So I actually I had a question that was about that, but it's also easy to fall into this kind of like mindset of talking about all the shit that we hear, or like the negative things that have been said to you, or just as, I mean, shit, you're a musician and a model. What more cutthroat, like, crazy
industries.
fucking businesses can you choose to be in? You know what I mean? Like, that's on, like, hey, on my off time from having to, like, feel like shit and fight for my place, I want to feel like shit and fight for my place.
Oh my God.
Right? And it's like, so it's easy, it would be easy to get into, like, hey, let's talk about all the shit you've heard, because you've heard so much of it, I know. My girlfriend is in an incredible all-girl punk band called Jackknife Stiletto. She also works for a major touring artist. She works for Joan Jett, and she does her lighting and stuff. So every day she has to hear how, do you need somebody to pick this up for you? Oh, are you here to see your boyfriend? Are you, like, all this, the normal shit that people hear, and it's really easy to get caught up in that. So I don't want to do that. And what I wanted to ask you, and I'm going to read it exactly how I phrased it, because it's going to let the listener know some of the things that are easily aimed at you, probably. But so here it is, and I'm going to read it like I read it. I wanted to ask, as a queer, multicultural, plus-sized, Asian American, at times blonde, female, you've definitely had to develop a thick skin to backlash negativity from probably every culture and every genre and group of people that you also represent, right?
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, what's something positive that someone has said to you, or an experience that helped you feel included and supported while navigating all this and doing all this? Because it's really easy to jump on the other side, and there's a million. But I want to know what's something that stuck with you that somebody said or experience.
Well, I used to get a lot of DMs from women basically being like, hey, you inspired me. You know, I had this one girl, she said that, you know, she was at work and she couldn't fit into like the uniform they gave her, and they said lose weight or you're fired or something crazy like that. And she ended up, you know, finding a better job and, you know, being like, fuck you, I don't need to lose weight, because she saw my pictures.
Nice.
And I was like, wow, that's amazing, you know, because I'd be lying to you if I said, like, I sometimes wake up and, like, I sometimes want to change too. Sometimes I want to lose weight. Sometimes I want to do this. Sometimes I wish I was different. And then I look at that thought and I'm like, the reason why I'm, like, you know, successful and I'm celebrated or whatever is because I'm different. And so I encourage all my fans and, you know, whoever's listening, whatever makes you different, own the shit out of it, because I wouldn't be on the cover of Vogue Japan if I wasn't, you know, plus size, I don't think. And I wouldn't,
Right.
you know, me and my sister too, we wouldn't be so groundbreaking or whatever if we weren't different, if we weren't this. And I definitely get a lot of like, oh, you're not Asian enough, you're not white enough, you know, you're not this enough, or
Right.
you're too much. And it's like, again, it's like, I don't care. I'm different and I'm a melting pot of things and I love it. And I, you know, used to fight myself on it for so long. And now I'm like, damn, I love all this stuff about me and I encourage everyone else to, you know?
Nice. Do you ever feel like some of that, like, and this was my follow-up question to this, is when I was looking up like interviews that you've had or things that were written about you or things that you've done, literally every article started with trailblazer, role model, representation, all that kind of stuff, before they ever got into what exactly you were actually talking about. It was more about the fact that because of your ethnicity, or because of plus size modeling, or because like you were a representation or a flag bearer for some group, which is awesome. Like I'm not at all saying anything's bad about that, but what does it feel like for you to kind of be called these things just for kind of like being who you are? You know, like if you come out as something and you're just trying to make music, and then somebody's like, oh, you're also queer? Cool. We're now going to put your face on this flag and you have to represent us. Does that, do you feel like that, like, just trades this box that you're not allowed into with another box that you now have to fit in?
Oh,
Like,
definitely.
Is there pressure there? Like you can never lose weight because if you do, you don't represent anymore and you're a sellout. And, you know, like, do you feel that, or are you able to kind of like appreciate that people are appreciating you for those things, but then also going, hey, you know, like, I still got to be authentic. I still, you know, I don't always have to stand for something. I got to be me regardless of what that is.
Yeah, I think like the natural human instinct is to label things and categorize them and, you know, compartmentalize them. Mm-hmm. And the truth is like who I am today is going to be different than who I am tomorrow. Like we are constantly shifting in and out of who we think we are and changing that and stuff. And so, you know, I always keep that in mind when I look up to someone as like, you know, they're going to be a different person tomorrow than they are going to be today. And I give a lot of room for myself in that way too. And I understand that maybe people might not, because I used to fluctuate a lot in weight. Like I had lost almost 50 pounds during quarantine. And then I had a lot of people being like, damn, you look so much better. And then I had a lot of people being like, what the fuck happened? You were my hero. And then, you know, so it's like that. And then I had to gain that weight back because I was in a movie where I was a plus size model, the only plus size model in the movie. And so I had to gain it all back and then like lose some of it after. And so it was a lot, you know, mentally. And I had to deal with a lot of those things of like the labels and things like that. And that's something that I'm definitely thinking about with this upcoming album, because this whole album is really just a celebration of being queer and fucking rock and roll. Yeah. And I have to remember that like people might just be like, you're queer forever and know me only for that. And so I have to be very careful on how I balance it and not be too much of one thing, you know, because there was a period of time where I was like really fully vegan and I was like putting it on all my stories and stuff. And then I was really struggling with it, and I'm still not all the way vegan. I'm trying, but like I was like, oh shit, like now everyone's going to know me for the vegan thing. And if I don't want to be vegan anymore, I'm fucked, because people are going to hate me and be like, you hypocrite, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know?
How do you deal with that? How do you stay how do you stay being an authentic artist if you have to if you have to fit into somebody else's definition?
The truth is that you say fuck the definition, because
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, because partly the reason why I love, you know, Lady Gaga, she's like my idol, and you know, is because she never said this is me. She's always changing. I mean, just look at her career. Like she did Joanne, which is kind of like a country album, wearing a cowboy hat, and then she fucking, you know, used to wear wigs and crazy meat dresses and all this stuff, and she never said I'm this and I'm this. And so nobody could really attach to that because she was always changing. And so for me, I'm like, I'm always changing, and I want people to know that about me, you know, so they don't get attached.
Evolution.
I feel like she did more of like her, and communities identified with her.
Yeah.
As opposed to the other way around, where it was like, I identify with this community.
I think that's a great point. Like I think that's the proper mindset, is I'm me, and if people identify with me, cool, but I'm not going to shape my identity to identify with them.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how I am, you know? And I do say things like I'm queer, I'm plus size or whatever, but like it's really like the press that has put those on me as like, you know, shining a light. This is why she's different, so I'm gonna talk about this. But I'm like a million fucking things, and I'm always changing, and that's the truth. You know what I mean? If I could describe myself, I'm always changing, so I wouldn't even have a definitive answer, you know?
Well, and to some extent, you have to lean into certain things just because it's so hard to get press these days.
Yeah.
So if someone in the press is going to lean on an aspect of you or your personality,
what you do,
then by all means, bring it. Like, talk to me about that specific topic. And if you're going to print stuff about me here, do that. So I completely understand that. But it's always interesting to me when I see stuff like that. I wouldn't have even thought because when I was looking into it, I was like, let me listen to the music, let me look at the modeling, let me look at what you've done, and the fact of queer being a thing was like, oh, okay, cool, that's an interesting thing about you. Plus size, okay, that's a thing about you, but you're an artist. Let's talk about that. Let's figure that out. You've said like putting on a persona for a song or for your art. That to me is like super interesting. Those are interesting things to talk about. But I guess, if somebody wants to lean into another aspect of your personality, sure, absolutely. But I was just wondering how much pressure that puts on you to kind of like, okay, I got to make sure I'm always representing this group in a certain light. And does that have an effect on, like, if I want to do a cover song, do I have to look up and see what I'm picking to make sure that, okay, I love this song, but this person said something shitty on a tweet like 10 years ago and I didn't know that they were canceled and awful, and now I'm doing their song and now I'm going to be judged by it and it's going to fuck with my life. Versus being like, yo, it's rock and roll. Separate the art from the artist and I'm me and fuck you,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't even look at the pressure. To be honest, the pressure is all fake.
Cool.
Who's putting the pressure on you? You. It's like your choice to say like that person's opinion really fucking matters to me. And it's like, of course, people are going to be your fans for little things about you, right? So I have fans who like my music and then fans that just like my modeling and they don't care about the music, and I'm okay with that. And I mean that's how it works. It's like some people are fans of Cardi B because of her personality and some don't give a shit about her music, and it's just the way it is. And I accept that. It's like I don't argue with that. I don't fight against that. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, it's okay.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And listeners, that's what rock and roll is.
Yes.
Quick reminder that this show is brought to you by our brand new sponsor, Mythical Beards. Check them out, mythicalbeards.com. You can get stickers, you can get hoodies, you can get all that kind of stuff, but most importantly, you can get shit for your face.
Keep your beard fresh, keep it clean, keep it groomed. If it's good enough for Mick Foley, god damn it, it's good enough for us.
I'm wearing the Kraken right now.
I am actually wearing the Dracula.
Nice.
And that's why I smell like an old-time barbershop.
If you go to mythicalbeards.com and use the promo code
BACON15,
you get 15% off your entire order. The show is also brought to you by our good friends at GrillYourAssOff.com, where you can also get 15% off of your order of all spices, grilling rubs.
They're delicious freaking sauces.
Yes, delicious sauces, all that kind of stuff. Every season is grilling season if you like to cook.
Yes.
So definitely check it out. GrillYourAssOff.com. Use the promo code
BACON because it'll keep your grilling season all year fucking long.
15% off with the promo code. 10% off at drinkwildbills.com, where you can get all kinds of great sodas, which we've seen lots of mixers for. So keep sending them in. Hashtag drinkwildbills. Hashtag what's your bacon. Send us your beverage options
Of choice.
and also poddex.com. You can see them in another part of the show.
Yes, indeed.
But both of those, 10% off, use the promo code BACON. So
Yes.
check it out. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you got. Use them. Find them. If you can't remember what we just said, go to baconismypodcast.com. Everything's there. Check it out. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
Right? Stop trying to make it so pure.
What I do, so we talked about like a couple of things there, and we talked about it in the "What's Your Bacon in 7 Questions." So the vegan thing, so cheese destroys me. Like I get sick, I get super sick after cheese, but I've been trying to find like a lot of
Cheese is life for me. So
right,
different thing.
So like there's a time and a place for me for cheese, and I'll pick and choose my battles. But what I will say is I've been finding out a bunch of alternatives for cheese. VO Life, not a sponsor, could be.
Yeah,
we'll take your money. That's been really good for me, like for like pizzas and stuff like that. I like there's a local pizza place, Umberto's. they do that vegan cheese.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
That's cool. All right.
But we talked about the queso. Amazon, they have something called magic cheese, and it's a powder that you mix with water, and it is fucking delicious. And it makes it's like queso.
Science is amazing.
Basically like queso. And there's not, like, Jen, my wife Jen, she kind of like, she looks at packages and goes, okay, this is all going to kill you.
Right.
Or this.
Right.
No, she doesn't do that. She doesn't do that. She said, no, this is
You
this
can
is
have
like
this,
weird.
but we're not giving any to our kids.
This is not good for you.
Right.
Like that. But the back of it, she was like, no, this is legit. This is pretty good. So yeah, magic cheese. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. I pop a little bit of hot sauce in it. Shout out to the buddies at
hot sauce. Hot sauce.
Strange Candy. Buddies at Strange Candy who hooked us up. A little bit of rocket fuel in there, and I made it up. Oh man, it's great. It's great for nachos. It's also great for Philly cheesesteaks.
Philly cheesesteaks are also amazing.
So
Great. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, keep that in mind.
Magic cheese.
Grab it on Amazon. Magic cheese.
Are you a spicy food person?
Yes, in fact, my uncle got sponsored by Takis, and when I found out, I was like, "Oh, please send me some." And
That's his jam right there.
oh my god, I'm like actually addicted. I like literally I take Tums, I take peppermint tablets, peppermint tea. I have anti-cramping pills from my doctor so I can eat them. Like
That's
I'm
amazing.
addicted. And they sent me like this giant PR package and like gave me a lifetime supply. And I literally had to give some to my friends because I thought I was going to go to the hospital if I ate all of them.
That's incredible. Takis are great with hummus.
Ooh.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
My friend said the same thing and I was like, for real?
What kind of Takis though?
For real. I'm the Fuego. that's like the OG Takis.
I don't like the other side flavors. Like the blue ones taste like chlorine to me.
Yes,
so
I didn't like those either. I was
we tried them on a tasting.
yeah,
here.
I was like, this is off. Something's wrong here. This is Windex and Takis.
Yeah, literally Windex. I like the Fuego ones only.
Yeah, Fuego's key.
We the popcorn's actually pretty good.
The popcorn was pretty good. Yeah, Takis
Yeah,
popcorn.
it's pretty good. I like because they send me all the flavors, and I definitely think that the original is like unbeatable. But the popcorn was good.
Yeah, there's something special about it. Just like the rolled little tortilla-esque, like form factor of it, and then like how orangey red it is. Wait.
I have to ask this. When you eat them, so there's two different ways to eat them. You could suck off the powder and then eat it later, or do you just eat it? Like don't suck up.
I am not a powder sucker. I just eat it.
He only does. He only looks at me and sucks off the powder and then eats it to make me feel uncomfortable.
I do that. I do. I am a fan of putting anything phallic in my mouth and maintaining eye contact with whoever I can at any time. I bring a banana to work at School of Rock every day.
Yeah.
I don't look at the children, but I do look at the other teachers.
Oh my god.
Every day.
Yeah.
I am not a Taki sucker. But I do know that method. I will say that when I did have them with hummus, it leaves so much of the dust in the hummus that the hummus becomes orange, but it takes on a little bit of that flavor. So then later, when you take a pita and you go in that hummus, you get a little Taki with it. So you've now flavored your hummus in an amazing way.
Oh my god, now I have to try that.
You do have to try that. And when you do, hit me up and let me know how great it was, and I will say you're welcome.
Okay, wait, real quick, one last question about it.
Yes.
What drinks do you pair with your Takis? Like, what's your chaser?
Ooh. That's a good question. I usually, it's either whiskey. I'll do like an Irish whiskey with it. If I'm not drinking whiskey, I'm usually drinking water.
Yeah.
I just like a lot of water. But I do have a soda stream, and so I'll make like soda water, and I'll use like I have lemon essence, and I'll drop a few of those in there. So I'll have like a little soda water with a little lemon essence.
Yeah, I feel like the lemon is good
I don't want to wash it out. I don't want to.
I feel like the lemon essence would be good too because the Takis already have the lime.
Yeah, it's a little citrus, you know.
Yeah, that is good. I use I drink like the Ghost Gatorade flavor. You know, like I think it's like cherry glacier. It looks like
it's white, right?
Water.
It's white, but
yeah. That one's my favorite to drink, and I pair it. And I just, for some reason, like I always watch RuPaul's Drag Race when I eat Takis. So now I can't watch that show without eating Takis.
I'm gonna pair Drag Race with some Takis and see what that's like. I will recommend the cucumber lime pepino Gatorade.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Also.
Yeah.
Which is it's hard to find. It's hard to find.
What color?
It's
green.
Green, and it's like a lime cucumber one. And I've found it more on the West Coast, and occasionally I'll find it like somewhere in New York. I'll see it. Yeah. And if I see it, I immediately buy like a few of them. Yeah. Because it's great.
Our buddy Alex from Hands Like Houses.
Yeah.
He was the one who was like, I have this, and he put like tequila in it, and we were like, well, what?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Cucumber lime pepino.
Oh, it is something.
I guess pepino is the word for cucumber.
I guess so.
I don't know.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about, not to take us off the taquito discussion here.
Yeah, we could talk taquitos all night.
Yeah, hell yeah. You talked about demons keeping the pillows.
Yes.
Are you in currently a
cult?
Haunted?
Sorry.
A haunted apartment, house, whatever it may be, dwelling, or you just saying that for fun?
Well,
and how are you? How into demons and the occult are you?
Here's what I think. You know, my family has an energy healer, and she clears negative energy out of our house every, whatever, like once a year or something. And she's pretty good. I mean, but like, to be honest, my house isn't haunted, but I think what I'm saying is with demons is everyone has like that weird, irrational fear, right? So like if you leave your foot hanging at the end of the bed, you're like, oh, someone's going to grab my foot, Right. And so for me, it's like, I always sleep with pillows behind me because I don't want to turn around. And there's like, I guess one time I was watching back in the Vine days, right? There was somebody who pulled a prank on this girl where she was sleeping and she turned her head and somebody put like a mannequin head behind her. Oh, and I was like, if somebody fucking did that to me, game over. I'm dead. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to put pillows there. So in my head, it's blocked off. It's not an option.
Right. There's a barrier. There is a barrier.
Like, because
you made a fort. You made a fort. Mm-hmm. Since children, we've learned that we make forts.
Pillow forts.
Yeah.
Pillow forts.
We make forts to keep us safe. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have like people, like paranormal people on the show every once in a while and stuff like that. We've had like Dave Schrader and Patty Negri and Katie Stafford. So and we have a fun little tool from Katie Stafford, the ink box. It's a ghost box.
These are all people on the Travel Channel that have done the haunting shows and all that kind of fun stuff.
My friend is actually friends with the videographer for Zach Bagan's show, Ghost Adventures.
Oh yeah,
okay. I went to the Ghost Adventures place too with me and my psychic friend, and that was a whole thing. But
you're in Vegas, so yeah.
Just a little bit. Like I went to like a house. Like I didn't know the house was haunted, and I got it from my dad. My dad's extremely psychic, and I went to this haunted place in New York, and it was just friends or whatever. We didn't even think about it being haunted, and I was just started crying, and I had like a panic attack, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" And then my friend's like, "Oh, by the way, this place is really, really haunted," and I was like, I literally had to leave the place because I couldn't breathe. I was like, I felt like emotions that weren't mine. It was really strange.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Growing up, did you have do you remember ever kind of like being sensitive to shit like that? Or was that like the first time that you were like, what is happening?
It's almost kind of like a period where it like happens at a certain age, and it,
Okay.
like it's like a gift that you get like at a certain age. So like my dad got it at a certain age. My sister had like sleep paralysis, and she saw demons at a certain age.
Oh, fuck,
Only in
okay.
my dad's parents' house is like extremely haunted, and so my dad had it like pretty much his whole life, but like for me it didn't happen until very recently, and I've always been like super interested in his gift. I'll be like, Dad, can we go to the Queen Mary so I can see what you feel? You know.
He's got a camera on him the whole time, like, what's going on? What's going on, man?
Well, it's funny
Yeah,
because
literally, I was like looking over him and like, do you feel anything? Do you feel anything? So we'll always be like out somewhere, and I'm like, do you feel anything? You know, and sometimes like it'll be random. Like we'll go to like some bar, and my dad's like, bad energy here. We'll be like, okay, gotta go. And meanwhile, it might not even be spirits. It's just like
Right.
somebody was having a bad day and it rubbed off on the place. You just don't know.
that's too funny.
Nice.
Yeah, it's funny because Jen has had my wife is super sensitive to energies, all that kind of stuff. And when we were in our old apartment, she saw apparitions and stuff with and it turned out that it was an older gentleman that lived in the apartment complex below us as a younger person. And I was just a dummy. That's the best way to say it. Like spiritually and personally, just kind of like a dummy where I didn't like feel or whatever for whatever reason. You know, I wasn't open to all that stuff, and then I eventually became like pretty open to it. And we actually went to a concert out in Connecticut, and this bar, like we went to a concert, and this bar was on Yale campus, and on the side there was a sidebar, and like basically private bathrooms. It's just past the stage, and nobody was in there. Like there was one bartender and nobody was in there. So we went in. We were like, "Oh, this is our spot. Like this is fucking great." And we come back out. We're at side stage. This is great. And she went to the bathroom. She comes out and she goes, "It's haunted in here. That's why nobody's in here." I said, "Okay,
Right.
no problem." So we go. We start. I order a drink. I'm like, "This is the only place we're gonna get a drink. So like, what do you want?"
So we are here.
And she like comes to me and she's like, "Hey, there's something going on here." And I said, "All right, well, let's ask the bartender." It turned out that the bartender for that back bar had passed away a few years prior and haunted the space. And he used to like, what he would do is if somebody would order a drink, the bartender would take one, or two drinks. He'd take a beer, open it up, put it on the bar, turn around, make the other drink, put it on the bar, and the other drink was like on the other side of the bar. Or he'd like push off glasses and stuff like that. So that kind of got me into the whole like, oh shit, like this is a thing. This is like a real substantial thing. And now recently, as recent as when I went to go visit my parents, we went to
Which was only a
couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
we went to this museum that had a ton of taxidermy, right?
Oh yeah.
And I got into one space and I like walked past a spot and I'm like, oh, this isn't good. And I tell Jen, I'm like, hey, I don't feel good in here. Like there's something going on. She's like, what, are you okay? Like I was like, it's like this spot, it's no good. And she starts walking past it. She hits the same spot I did. And she's like, oh yeah, no, I get it.
That's
so
crazy.
So like the whole like being sensitive and stuff like that, I totally get it, and I love talking about that kind of stuff because it's super interesting to me.
Ooh, I do have a question for you guys regarding this. This is an interesting question. So obviously there's so many religions and afterlife theories, right? So one theory of ghosts or apparitions is like, it's not actually like their spirit, it's just residual energy playing out. So do you think it's like the spirit is actually there and like interacting or whatever, and like just hasn't moved on to the other realm, or do you think it's like residual energy?
I think it's a little of both, personally.
I was gonna say I'll let you answer first.
I definitely think it's a little bit of both. I think there's intelligent and residual. I think that it classifies as two different things, where some things are just left behind, the essence of people, and they'll answer you and stuff like that. Like I said, with the ink box, I got actual answers back. And I think that people are attached to people, and I think they're attached to places as well. I'd like to dive a little deeper into what they're actually, what they're more connected to, the people or the spaces, because you watch some shows and it's like, oh, this place, 20 people died in this house and stuff like that. And it's like, no, it's somebody that's attached to you that's kind of trying to get your attention. So that's like intelligent. But then I do think that there's energy that's rubbed off on the space. It's just almost like an alternate timeline, an alternate universe that kind of like hits and just plays over and over again because it's so stained to that place, kind of thing. That's me.
I like that. I tend to think that there is the physical that we are experiencing, and then there is another plane where it's right here. The closest thing I can say that's if I had to explain it in a way that like kind of anybody could understand it, is I'll say like Stranger Things.
Yeah, right? The upside down.
The upside down.
So I tend to think, just because whenever I've looked into paranormal things, or you look at like anything paranormal, aliens, Bigfoot, like all these different kinds of things, there's always kind of similar aspects of things are here and then they're not. We saw things, but we couldn't take a photo of them. We experienced a feeling, and then the feeling was gone. It only happened in certain areas. I don't necessarily think that there's a residual thing. I do think that once our bodies are done, our spirit, if you want to call it that, is kind of still there and active in another place. I don't have any kind of reason for thinking that, other than that it kind of makes sense to me. I think anything's possible, right? I'm willing to kind of believe anything if you give me good enough evidence for it. But whatever evidence you give me, I'm going to come up with probably 50 questions that will completely negate anything that you say, and you have to prove all those to me for me to agree with your thing. Just because I want to know, just because I think it's interesting, and I like to kind of get to the bottom of things. But there is and I'll connect this in a second, but it's not connected right now. There is a fish that lives like super deep in the ocean, where it's completely dark, where scientists have discovered that their eyeballs are able to see like 3 times the amount of colors that we are.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So if you're looking at what we are physically able to experience, it's not even everything. If we put on infrared glasses, we see things that we don't see. And there are other levels of that have been proven. So therefore, the most reasonable thing for me is to think that, okay, there's this whole other, I won't even say a different realm or anything like that. I'll just say that there's things that are around us at all times
that we're just
not privy to, because we're not able to either see it, or we're not mentally able to process it. And I think that once we get rid of the shackles of what our bodies are capable of, then we're kind of open to those other things. And sometimes for whatever reason, those other things pop through.
I think it has to do with, like, and I don't know if necessarily it's the correct terminology that we should use, but I think the best metaphor for that is the veil.
Yeah. We're only able to perceive what we've learned so far, and for whatever reason,
things just pop through that veil where we can kind of see it.
Well, our species likes to look at ourselves and imagine and come from a perspective of we know more than everything that we encounter. But
right. That's a great point.
That's only because we haven't encountered something that knows more than us.
Yeah.
And to think that that's not there, I think is silly.
Yeah. I agree.
So I think that we're only able to kind of like perceive and understand what we're able to perceive and understand, and at some point that gets unlocked. And that's kind of where I am on that.
What about you? Where you stand on this?
Well, I will say, like, I'm not religious, and I would say I'm more spiritual, and my mom is still, yeah. So I'm very open-minded, right? But I mean, my mom was listening to Dolores Cannon, and I agree with a lot of the things that she says. Like, she believes that, like, there are multiple antichrists and, like, multiple Jesuses, or, like, religious figures that are, like,
right,
holy or messengers to the world. And she also believes that, like, when we die, like, our energy is kind of, like, dispersed and things like that. It's really hard to describe what she's saying. It's very abstract, but I agree with a lot of it. And so I think a part of it is residual. And I also think that there are entities out there, but they're not, like, from Satan and from Jesus.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just entities out there that, maybe haven't found a body yet. Like, the way that she was describing it, which I thought was kind of interesting, is, like, there's souls out there that, like, they are, like, in an auction, right, for, like, a human body, right, on this to experience, right, and to basically, Earth is school for us, for our souls. And she was saying that, like, there's an auction where they're like, no, I want a body. And so I think, like, sometimes, like, when we go back, we, like, go back to that place where, like, before we don't really remember that much of our human life and things like that. And I agree with that. And I don't know if she believes this or I got this from her, but I do think that, the darker spirits sometimes come from, or the darker entities come from, like, spirits that are trying to trick people that they are human spirits, but they're not actually human spirits. They're, like, doing it to fuck with us. And so I'm like, I kind of agree with that. Like, like, the nefarious ones, like, and I guess I would explain more so, like, the stuff in, like, Zach Bagans' museum, like, the more sinister things. So I would say that's a possible theory too.
Yeah.
I think when you look at the Zach Bagans type stuff, you have to think that, like, him and his group are a part of that. Because imagine somebody comes into your house and the attitude they take with you is confrontational.
Yeah. Like, right? Poking bear.
Yeah. So, like, if you're just hanging out and someone comes to you, let's just bring it to a human experience, because that's the only thing we have to go on anyway. So we have to assume that whatever we interact with would interact with us in the same way, right? Because that's our experience, and that's all we have to go on. So if I come up to a stranger and I approach them with respect, or with humility, or with even, like, holding back a little bit, they're going to have a different reaction to me,
right,
than if I am antagonistic towards them. And if I walk in, if I came into your house uninvited and started yelling at you and saying, prove to me you're here, and things like that, you're going to take an aggressive stance on it. And you might, or at some point,
or you might just say, fuck you, I'm going to lay down.
You might go, oh, fuck this guy, and you might go lay down and not show him anything. Or if you are a little bit more of a rambunctious type of rebel, you might go, oh, you want my attention? I'll give you my fucking attention. You're going to come at me hard? You don't even know what hard is, you human puny motherfucker. You don't even know what it is. I was a human once, and now I'm not, or I was never a human because I didn't sign up and go to that auction,
right?
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I turned down that shit, you weak ass flesh suit. You know, like, you guys are fragile. Fuck you. Let me show you what's up.
Yeah.
So I think there's a certain amount of that goes into it as well. You know, also though, I think it's interesting, like, so being multicultural, like, I don't want to get too into like religion.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's not a
spot
you want to.
As much as I love to talk about that and I love to get into stuff like that, but I don't want to turn off everybody on the show, but coming multiculturally, learning about things from different places, how did that shape your attitude to even being open to the possibility of other things? You know, like you brought up like a Satan and a Jesus, right? Like a Satan and a Jesus by name are really only in one spot, right? But by definition are in every spot. You know, they kind of are everywhere. So how did your kind of upbringing, and I know, or at least I read that like you didn't get super into like your culture until a little bit later.
Right.
You know, after you lived in the multicultural Mecca of Maryland,
Which will be there this weekend.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So, but once you really did, and you started kind of really getting more like from living with your grandmother or any of those things, how did that shape your ability to even look at spirituality or religion or anything from a different perspective?
Well, I say a lot of it is power of suggestion, to be honest.
Yes.
Like, and that goes with everything. Like, that goes with religions, that goes with like ghosts. It's like, if you know a place is haunted and you go into it, it might be placebo. You just don't know. And so I was, I was put in a private Christian school pretty early on. I would say like when I was like maybe 10.
Okay.
And so I was very susceptible to power of suggestion at that young age.
Yeah.
So, I took everything that the teacher said as gospel, because it's like, I'm not getting the other side. I'm not getting, especially with politics too, like they would make us not every school. I switched schools a couple times, but it was always a Christian private school. One school actually, like, they would say, okay, so here is, the conservative Republican side, or, well, those are two different parties, but you know what I'm saying? Republican side. Kind of.
Kinda.
But
these days it's weird. It's
a
weird.
little weird. Yeah, it's a little blended. But if we were liberal, we would have to debate the teacher. And I never thought that was fair. You know what I mean?
Cool,
like,
though, right?
And I mean, it was cool, but it's like, you didn't teach us the other side. And they're like, well, if you disagree with us, you have to debate us, the teacher, and it's like, well, you didn't educate me on the other side, so I don't know. Right.
Like, you're coming at me with all this information, and I'm coming at you with questions that you don't want to answer.
Exactly.
So that's not a debate. That's a lecture.
It's going to be biased.
Yeah.
So a lot of my learning was kind of like that. And so I really had to, like, when I got out of school, really do my own research and with everything, religion, politics, whatever, and make my own opinion, because I kind of had my own religion or my own beliefs fed to me at a young age. And I think that's how a lot of people feel like coming out of the church, or even, private schools, religious schools, and things like that. But yeah, I didn't really get deep into like my Japanese side or my Dutch side of the family until recently. Like, we're planning on going to Holland later this year, and I'm interested in hearing that. And yeah, I mean, the Dutch side wasn't really religious at all. My grandma, like, the Christianity thing came from when she moved to Newport Beach, so that wasn't from like Japan. But it was interesting because, when I was asking about like the Dutch side of my family, for example, my grandfather he was like an atheist because basically what happened was during the war, they were, I guess his family and things like that this was like when Hitler was around, basically they went to the church and they were like, hey, like we need refuge, we need help. And they were like, no. And so ever since he was like, nah, I'm not team Jesus around here, so I understand that. But I didn't really have much of a say in my own beliefs until I got out of high school and I really did my own research. But that's what I have to say on that.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It really does. Like I had kind of the same.
I felt that way.
I had the same experience where like I was at a Catholic school, but I was at a Catholic school because I had behavior problems at a public school, and so they brought me to a Catholic school. But then when I was at a Catholic school, I had even more behavior problems because I asked a lot of questions.
Yes, me too. I would start petitions. I'd be like, why can't I dye my hair, ho?
I would always I was the one in class that made everybody else annoyed because the teacher would present something as like a fact, and my hand would shoot up and I'd be like, you need to back that up. Like, I need you to I need you.
The earth is 2,000 years old. Where's the receipts?
Yeah. How does that work with this other thing that I learned in this other class?
Right.
Exactly.
Like, how does that work? We're at the same school and I'm learning two different things from two different classes, and they're like, oh, it's what we believe. And I'm like, it's what who believes? And why do you believe it? And so I had a lot of that too, and I got kicked out of a lot of Sunday school. I got in that too, but it was another thing to me where it's like, if I ask a question and rather than try and answer it, you just kick me out because that must mean you don't have an answer. Which means you can't back up your belief, which means to me that it's bullshit. And so therefore every time I'm in this class, I'm going to call bullshit on everything you say. And now that you didn't answer one thing, I'm going to make you prove every statement that comes out of your mouth.
Yeah. And the brain is fucking powerful. Yeah, that's why I believe more, I would say manifesting is like my spirituality or my religion, because like your beliefs, whatever you believe, you're going to see evidence of. So people will be like, oh, well, I saw evidence of Jesus or Buddha or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, because you believed. I thought I saw evidence of Jesus when I was a Christian too, and so that's why I'm like, to each their own. If it works for you, it works for you. You know what I mean? Just don't push it down my throat. And yeah, and so my dad, he got me into this guy named Darren Brown, who's like a mentalist, and he does these really cool religious experiments where he'll pretend he's a psychic reader, and people be like, wow, you're amazing. And it's because he's the brain and all the tricks they use, like,
cold reading and
like, setting us up with like worship music, and it's like a trance-like state. And so of course you're gonna be like, it's interesting to think about.
I love that, because I just love I love researching and understanding the ways that people have, the things that people have used to, for better or for worse, control other people.
Yeah.
Control how people think, how people react, what people are going to do.
How they're feeling.
So I find that super interesting. Speaking of control.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Well, what's funny is I'm usually the segue guy, right?
Yeah, because mine are terrible.
Well, I'm gonna say about 42% of the time, mine are.
42% of the time, yours suck, which means 58% of the time they're great, which gives you a solid D.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'll take
plus.
that. D plus.
Yeah.
D plus. But that was an ace. That was an ace right there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Except for relevance, but yes.
Yeah, no. So
I mean, it was all very interesting. I don't mind talking about it,
Yeah.
We already got my plugs in there. It's fine.
That's the name of the show.
That's what this show is.
That's
it really
what we do.
is.
We're not kicking you off at all at this point.
No.
What we do have to do is pay some bills, though. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways we do some bills...
One small bill.
One really small bill is we pass around a basket. No, I'm just kidding.
Tithing.
That's what church does.
See, we do something called pod decks. We have a company called Pod Decks, and what they do is they make little decks of cards. They make decks of cards for... Stop it.
No, that's...
I hate you.
Sorry.
He tries to throw me off my game every time. So what Pod Decks does is they come up with these decks to help budding podcasters or people without verbal diarrhea the way we have. And I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you.
I'm providing you with background music.
No, you can stop it. You can stop it. We're gonna get hit with a fucking
Amazing Grace, bro.
It's gonna get hit with a notification or something or whatever. So what Poddex does is they put out different decks. Within each deck is 50 cards. Within each card is a question. What we like to have our guests do is pick a deck of these cards, and the decks you have to choose from are these, Natalie.
Ooh.
The episode deck, interview deck part 2. Would you rather? What the heck? What the fuck? And how dare you?
Ooh, man. I'm stuck between what the fuck and how dare you. Maybe let's do how dare you.
How dare you?
Yeah, you gotta give a little, use a little Melissa Cross. How dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shuffle these cards up. And Jimmy's going to explain what
he's going to shuffle because I can't, even though I also, like you, I used to live in Las Vegas. I cannot shuffle cards, though.
Yeah.
I'm kind of good at it because I used to do tarot.
Nice.
Oh,
nice. I used to just lose money. I just lose money. That's all I do. But I will tell you how to save some money. You can go to poddex.com. You can check out all of these cards, plus more, because they come out with new stuff all the time. They also have an app. They also have t-shirts that are nice on your nipples, not chafy and shitty like most t-shirts are. Soft style, not that Gildan shit. Where's our focus?
Drax approved.
Drax approved. Nipples are nice. So, check them out, fill out your cart, and then use the promo code BACON.
Because everything's better with bacon,
You get 10% off of your order. And, do your pod decks.
Thanks, Poddex.
Natalie, we will let you know. We will let you know that these could be anywhere from, like, what the fuck did you just say to me? And it could be super benign, like G rating. So there's no telling where we're going to get. So if we ask a question... Yeah, if we ask something and it's super...
I know we only met an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
But
if it's super intrusive, you have to answer it. If it's lame, we can pick another question.
Okay. All right.
All right. He's such a fan of mine. I am going to take the finger of power. I am going to go from my left to my right, your right to your left. You tell me when to stop. I am starting now.
Stop.
All right. All right. Natalie, what is the most trouble that you ever got into at home with your parents?
Ooh. Oh, man. God. There's kind of a few incidences, but my parents are very relaxed. Like, I rarely get in trouble. I would say... I mean, I threw a dollhouse at my sister once when I was little.
Was it wood or plastic?
No, it was plastic. I don't. It was a huge ass dollhouse, like really big, and I threw it at her. But I didn't.
What's more dangerous?
Getting in trouble for it. I would say. Oh, the only time,
anything you were like super embarrassed about, and you were like, ugh, or and they really. On you about it?
Like a shameful moment. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would say. one of two things. Well, I'll give you both stories. One story is when I was like, maybe 11 or something. I was talking to my friend. I would FaceTime my friend all day, like during the summer, and I would text her like nonstop, like. And my dad, I accidentally sent the text to my dad. And so, but basically my friend was showing me this video of a puppet or whatever. And I was cursing at the time, but my dad didn't know. And I was like good at hiding it from my parents. And then I texted my dad and I was like, but she's a fucking puppet. And I sent that to him instead of my
completely
friend.
out of context too. That's great.
That's a great text to get out of context. I think I might just send a few people that just now.
This
But
week I'm
she's a
sending
fucking
that.
puppet. I was like, oh my God. And so my dad was like, he came in, he's like, I have to talk to you. And I was on the phone with my friend and I was like, oh, fuck. And so I left my phone there. My friend was waiting on FaceTime for me to get back. We ended up talking for like an hour and a half. But basically my dad's like, why are you cursing? This is bad. Like all this stuff. Like, why are you cursing? And, you know, all this stuff. And now me and my dad curse together all the time. It's just like, when I go to my grandparents' house, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, it's like very foreign to them. But the other time was my uncle lives like pretty close by, and I was probably like 15, and I really wanted to try drinking alcohol. Fun fact about me is I'm deathly allergic to alcohol. Like if I have a certain amount, like I'll get seizures, like I'll break out in hives, like I'll basically go into shock. So I can't have alcohol. But basically I had a little bit, and what happened was me and my friend really like wanted alcohol. We wanted to try it. And so my uncle has like this bar in his house downstairs, but there's security cameras, and obviously there's so much security clearance to get to my uncle's house, but I know all the codes. So we
not to name drop, but it's Steve Aoki.
Yes. Yeah.
Who is going to be at Bamboozle?
Maybe we'll talk to.
Hope to hang with.
Bamboozle?
Bamboozle's a festival out in Jersey.
Oh, right,
Yes.
Yeah.
He's doing a DJ set.
And we're going to be working it as press. We're going to be working it.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so I was driving in the middle of the night, or my friend was driving because I didn't know how to drive at the time. So we were driving to my uncle's house in the middle of the night, and we thought we could just go in there because I know the codes, right? I know the codes. So how can they know, you know, even though the security cameras are on? So we go down and we take like, I think it was like barley juice. I mean, we looked on the back and it said barley juice, and we were like, what? But we took it was like soju. I was like, barley juice, the fuck? But it was soju, and we put half of it in this water bottle, and then not even half, like maybe a little bit, and then like some water, and then we left with it, right? And then I think we tried doing it another instance, and it just didn't work. But anyways, we went back to my house, and we were both drinking it, and then we're like, are you drunk yet? She's like, no. Are you drunk yet? And I'm like, no. And then she was like, I think I feel a little bit. And I was like, really? And it was just not enough to get drunk. It wasn't even like a shot worth. And so then my mom is like, so, Natalie, Steve's assistant said that she saw you on the security cameras at 2 a.m. last night. And I was like, oh, what? Really? You know? And so I basically
That's
told
so
her.
weird.
Yeah, I told her, and they were like, don't ever do that again. But at the same time, they were like laughing about it. 'Cause, you know.
That reminds me
they
a
were
lot
laughing about it because barley juice is the equivalent of doing a shot of like wheat grass. Do you feel drunk yet? No, but I could run a marathon. I feel really healthy.
That reminds me of two things. Number one, the Joe Coy.
Yes.
Yeah, where he talks about his son and how
doing the party in the pool.
And he's like, listen, just do whatever you do. Like, because I guess he's divorced. He's got a son. And he's like, all right, just whatever you do. The only thing you got to do is not throw a party here. And he's like, yes, Dad, no problem. Don't throw a party here. No, I got you. And he ends up finding out that he throws a party because the Ring camera goes off on his phone because he's got a bunch of teenagers in his backyard, and the mother lives down the block, so he goes, "Do you know what this asshole's doing?" And yeah, definitely. I don't want to spoiler alert.
I just want to ask this question right now. Are you poorly telling a joke that a professional comedian put on his special right now and trying to do it justice?
No, I'm telling the story about what happened and saying, "Hey, go watch it on Netflix."
Go watch it on Netflix.
Because it's good.
Because it's really good.
But it does remind me of the time that I got into a
too.
lot of fucking trouble because I did get drunk. Mm-hmm. And I did tell my parents that I only had a drink. And then, so I was upstairs. We had there was a dining room. Like, so you walked into the house, you go upstairs. My sister's room was on the one side. My room was in the other side. You walk through the living room, and then the rest of the house, which was like my parents' living room, kitchen, etc. And my parents picked me up from a pretty debaucherous party.
Yeah.
That I had walked down the stairs next to a girl getting carried by 3 guys, passed out after throwing up. And they were like, "Is she drunk?" And they were like, "No, it's just an asthma attack.
Not anymore.
It's fine. It's just asthma."
Oh my god.
And I decided to walk down next to her, just kind of like next to her as if she didn't exist.
Right.
Because my dad was looking up the stairs as well, as her father was horrifically looking up at her getting carried down by the stairs. And I was just like,
smart move. Takes the focus off you.
"Hey,
You go, I'm not that.
what's up, Dad? Let's roll."
Oh my god.
And I would imagine I smelt like booze,
Right.
because my mother told me that vodka doesn't smell. Fun fact: vodka fucking smells
I know
really
what
bad.
vodka smells like.
Yeah, I smell it. I've smelt it before. So, I get home and my dad's like, "Hey man, you sure you're good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm totally good." He's like, "You sure you didn't drink that much?" I was like, "I had 1 drink. I'm good." So in between that dining room and rest of the house area was a gate. So my dad was like, "Okay, well, your mom wants to talk to you." And she was like, "Hey, did you drink tonight?" I said, "I had a drink, but nothing else."
Right.
She's like, "A single drink? That's it? Nothing else?" So yeah, no, I'm totally cool. She said, "Okay, no problem. See you tomorrow." And I went back toward my bedroom. In between that hallway and that living room and that staircase up to my bedroom was a gate, so the dogs didn't go upstairs or go try and get out of the house.
Right.
I stepped over the gate.
Did you make it?
I went to sleep
Oh my god. You just
for.
now?
I fell asleep. I was like legs over the gate because they were beagles. They're short dogs, and I laid my head against the wall,
Just straddling the gate?
straddling the gate.
Dog,
And-
how can you fall asleep like that?
Apparently,
That's great.
like a half hour later, my dad, or I don't even remember if it was my dad or my mom, and they go, "You all right?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm totally cool." And I went back, and they were like, 1 drink?" I was like, "Yeah, just 1 drink." And they went, "You better go upstairs because your mom's really pissed."
Right.
And I was like, okay. Yeah, I went back upstairs. By the way, the next morning before work on that Sunday, my mom was totally pissed
Yeah.
and pulled all of the drawers out of my drawers
Right.
and pulled all the clothes and things out of my drawers. And she's like, "You're going to have to clean your room when you get home, but you also need to like throw things that you don't like out." and also if you don't want to be, if you want to live here still, you need to tell the truth. And I was like, oh, cool. All right.
And you could have been like, Mom, the reason I was so drunk is because it's the first time I ever had one drink.
No, she knew it wasn't. She knew it wasn't because she taught me that vodka doesn't smell.
Right.
I think that was a trap. I think it was totally a trap.
That was a trap.
Just like
That's good. That's a good story, though. That is a good story.
Yeah, I guess it was.
People have heard my story on the show. Natalie has not, but like I've had a similar thing where I went to a party in I think I was probably in 7th grade at the time, and from no, I was in 8th grade, because from 6th grade to 8th grade I drank a lot. I was one of those kids. I would bring alcohol to school in like hairspray bottles and shit like that, and drink it between classes. I was a real
hairspray was a thing back then.
I was a real piece of shit. So I went to a party, and everybody knows. So I will. Here's what I will say different today. I'm gonna give names.
Oh shit!
Oh
yeah.
Wow! Calling them out.
Maggie Ardelt from my junior high and high school. I love you. You probably don't listen to this podcast, but if you do, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. It was at her house, and I went there with some friends, and my parents dropped me off there. And I drank, and I got wasted, and then my parents picked us all up, and I was like laying on the floor of the minivan, not on the seat, on the floor.
Yeah.
Not between the back two seats, between the driver's seat and the seat immediately behind. Yeah, because I was smart, and I thought that would get me away. I would get away with shit. I got home, my friends, we all went upstairs to my room. I was having a sleepover that night.
Oh, you were.
My mom said, Jimmy, can you come downstairs for a minute? And I was like, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I can come downstairs. What? What's downstairs? Right? I come downstairs, and my dad is sitting in a chair.
Oh, no.
And he goes, hey, bud, you look wasted. And I was like, that's stupid. He was like, why do you tell me what happened? And I was like, nothing. And they were like, all right, well, I'm going to give you one more chance to tell me what happened. At least I think this is how it went down, because I don't remember. But that's what I've heard. And I was like, pfft. And they sent me back upstairs. And the next morning, my mom was like, so rather than really, like, I'm not going to ground you. I'm going to talk to you about what happened. 1, you have to scrub and clean the entire basement. 2, the other thing I did today was I called Maggie Ardelt's parents.
Oh, no.
And I told them that you were wasted at their party, and since you apparently knew nothing about anybody else drinking at their party, you probably brought it. Which means that you brought booze to the party and you got wasted. Maggie's parents called everyone else's parents. And that was the end of my social life in junior high and high school. And I literally
drank alone for the rest of your...
No, I went straight edge because it was my only option to ever get invited anywhere.
Wow.
I had to go so straight edge that I had to like put it out there to be like, I don't drink. I don't do any of that for people to even assume that they could invite me to anything, and they still didn't.
Wow.
So Maggie,
That sucks.
I'm sorry.
Poor Maggie.
And I love you, Maggie. If you ever hear this, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys had some very strict parents. Definitely got Thor's hammer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Listen, my parents weren't strict.
We got some Ymir.
My parents weren't strict. They just were like, "Don't fucking lie to me."
My parents, when I was 18, my dad took me for a drive in the car and was like, "Open the glove box," and I did, and there was a bunch of weed in there, and he was like, you're old enough. And I was like, oh, what? So at
I
this
didn't
point,
have
like,
that same experience.
at this point, like every Christmas I go home and we have a party at my house Christmas Eve that includes like weed and mushrooms and all kinds of liquor.
Oh my God, stop.
And it's
Because
the
my dad's a
best
pothead.
time ever.
My dad's a pothead, and I've done shrooms with my parents.
I've done shrooms with my parents. It's amazing.
Yeah, we had a shaman there and everything. It was great, and I occasionally do shrooms, and it's great. It helps me write so much music.
I am so scared of shrooms because
I keep telling you how great
I know
they are.
you tell me about it, but so I had a friend. I'm not gonna name names because
Right.
I do believe some of them listen to it to this. And in high school, this one friend went out with like a group of guys that we didn't normally hang out with, and he calls us up frantically, and he's like, I am freaking the fuck out. I cannot handle what's going on. We're like, dude, what's going on? I'm not gonna. I almost said it too.
Yeah.
I almost said his name.
Yep.
And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I don't know what's going. I don't know. We had to try and like we were on the phone, and this was like early 2000s, like super early 2000s, late 90s kind of thing, where we were asking like, hey, Dad, can we borrow your phone while we try and track our friend down?
Right.
Because it was only like one mobile phone in the family. And we end up finding him. He's tripping
Natalie,
balls.
you grew up in a very successful family that didn't have these kind of things.
Right. So this dude...
Putting it out there.
This dude was in a bad way. They just kind of left him. They were like, oh, he's got a bad reaction to this. We're just going to leave him there.
Yeah.
And we end up picking him up and pouring him into the fucking car. And we brought him to our buddy's house, and we went down. This is like the normal place where we hung out and stuff. And we're like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to say, Rob, are you okay? Rob, are you okay? And he's just like, I can't feel, like I'm seeing this and I'm seeing that and I can't. And the way he reacted, I'm scared. Well, I also don't like mushrooms as like
You gotta not think of them as
eater.
a food, and then it's good.
Yeah, I don't like mushrooms as a food. So like, but then also seeing that with him, and I was like,
Oh, the trauma.
oh, dude, that's my scared straight moment. That's my scared straight moment right there.
I understand that because before I like did them myself, me and my mom went on like a spiritual journey together with our shaman, and I saw her on psilocybin, which is like shrooms.
Yeah.
And they put her on a really big dose, and she had like a blindfold on and stuff. And seeing how she was reacting, I was like, whoa, I don't know if I want all that. So now I just do really, really tiny bits, like not anything too crazy, because I don't want to be like, oh, where am I? Like, I don't like being too out of control, you know?
Right.
I've just recently opened up. Like I was in San Francisco this past January, so I was able to get some edibles, and so I'm getting into edible pot products recently. But eventually, I'll get to shrooms. Eventually,
We'll get there. Me and you.
We'll get there,
We got
baby.
this. We got this.
You should do a podcast while you're on shrooms.
I told him that. I've been
You
saying
did.
it for a long time. I was like, we got to do this, and we'll just do the journey throughout the whole thing. Like we give
as
away
long as he edits it, it's fine.
we give away everything else. We do a Twitch stream now on Thursdays where we're literally writing and talking to a producer about a 5-song EP that we're gonna put out, and like the whole process is out there. That's scarier to me than doing shrooms in front of people. Like I'm like, you want to hear someone critique our songs for the first time while we hear it? Oh shit! Like you want to hear us track vocals? Ugh, I don't know about that shit. Holy fuck! So like, shrooms is way scarier than me. But I will say, I don't know if there will ever be a a moment in time, Natalie, where you have the opportunity to meet and hang out with my mother? I hope so. Just for your sake, because I hope everyone on Earth gets to at some point. Because she is wonderful. She's an amazing person.
She attacked me the first time I met her.
She did. She did attack you.
But she's great.
She's incredible.
She is incredible.
I did shrooms. My band was on tour, and we stayed for a couple days at my parents' house in Indiana. And my brother had been growing them, and so he showed up with a big Tupperware just full of them. And he was like, "We're doing shrooms tonight," and it was like, "Fuck yeah!" And so my whole family did it, and he did it. This was not a shaman
led journey.
This was not a shaman-produced journey.
Yeah, no guide.
Right, no guides, nothing. This
your brother was the guide.
Well, no, my brother, who was the guide, was like cooking ribs on a grill that he just left there, and then sat in his car and was like, "Should I go somewhere and get food?" And then my bass player was in the yard. We had like a fire built in the yard, and he was like warding off spirits with a stick, and my mom was standing next to me in the living room, and I just remember her looking at me, and she had never done shrooms before.
Oh, wow.
And I've had my parents are very open with me, and I'm very open with them, and they were like, "This is when I did coke," and I'm like, "This is when I did coke," right? And like, so we've had those kind of conversations with each other, and I just remember, and my mom's very talkative, and she's amazing. Like, I love her to death. I would just say over and over and over again, "I love my mother. She's the best."
We have a text chat about gardening.
Yes.
Just throw that out there.
So she's standing next to me, and she just starts like looking at me like this.
No.
I'm also on shrooms, and I'm just like, "Okay, I'm next to my mom. This is happening right now." And she was like, "Are you feeling anything?" And I was like, "I wasn't sure, but I feel like maybe I am." And she was like, "The carpet looks weird." And I was like, "I gotta go in a different room. I gotta leave you right now."
I would by myself, to be honest. Like, I don't like being with people when I do it. Like, occasionally, yeah. Like, sometimes, like, I'll go into my mom's room and I'll be a little bit, like, on shrooms. And I'm like, "I love you." Bye. Yeah. But, like, I usually like doing it by myself because I get very introspective. But Absolutely. It's definitely important to be safe. Like, you know, it's good that you did it with people that you love and trust. Because I was watching a documentary on it, and, like, some people do it with, like, people they barely know, and I'm like, "Yo, that's got to be scary as fuck."
Well, I've done that too. And it wasn't great.
Well, that's, you know what? Maybe that's why Rob, I'll say Rob, I don't have to say his last name, Fitton. Mm-hmm. That's why Rob Fitton didn't like shrooms that time, because he was not with people that he usually hangs out with.
See?
And he was left behind.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Oh, poor Rob.
That's what happens sometimes.
We love Rob Fitton, though.
I spent about 4 hours on someone's backyard trampoline with people I didn't know while I was on shrooms.
I have a backyard trampoline.
Yeah, I was like looking at leaves. It's just like, the veins in the leaf are like the veins in your hand. Give me a flashlight, I'll show you when I shine it on the back of my hand. Like, that's fantastic. It was stupid. So, I will say, you've spent so much time with us tonight. Thank you so much for that. I have one final question for you. And it's the question that everybody's been wanting me to ask this entire time.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
we started this.
All two of us.
We started this whole thing off with how red your hair is, and you were saying that it's a wig. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you right now, do you keep your hair short so that you can wear wigs, or do you have a style to your hair anyway, and wigs are just another fun thing that you can do? Or if you have super long hair right now, how the fuck do you keep it so tight so that wig doesn't look like it's on top of a hat?
Well, this is actually really interesting. So I used to, well, I still do, but it's just short now. I used to have really thick Asian hair, and it was like here, like Asian hair. Thick. It's really fucking thick. And I loved wigs, but I couldn't wear wigs. So I would go to an African braiding salon, and they would cornrows it down just so I could put the wig on top, and it was still bumpy. That's how thick my hair was. And so I was just like, damn. And then, you know, I was blonde for a little while, and I went to one wrong lady. I usually have like this amazing lady who does it, and then like I got a last minute booking, and they're like, they don't want your roots showing. So I was like, fine. So I went to this one lady in Vegas, and last time I ever do this, she burned off, I would say 97% of my hair with the bleach she used. So I had like literally no hair left, barely any hair left. It was like all strands and stuff. And so I was like, shit, what do I do? Like, this is my career. And so my agent's like, oh, you should just chop it. And dye your hair back to brown. And so I was like, okay. So I did that. So now I have like a pixie cut underneath with like little kind of like long pieces here. Right. And it works out perfectly. And I thank that lady now, because now I can wear wigs. And, you know, as a queer person, the ladies love the short hair. So, you know, when I want to look girly and cute and expressive, I could wear my wig. So it all works out.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I love wigs. I think they're awesome. I think they're super fun. I wish it was more acceptable. Fans. I wish it was more acceptable for dudes.
Right?
I really do.
Too. Makeup is fun as fuck.
I'm trying to grow this out.
You know what? I wear makeup at shows sometimes, and this dude is intolerant, and he fucks with me about it all the time, and it's hurtful.
Oh, the makeup? Yeah. No, I make fun of him all the time.
But yo,
I call it eyeliner.
I like a little glam in my life.
He loves a little glam, and then he wakes up the next morning.
Glam in my life.
He wakes up the next morning, or he gets like to the point of my set in the show, and he's like, it's all over his face.
I like that too. You know, I like it too. It's another look.
Let it hang.
It's another look.
Understood.
Yeah. Big hair, don't care. I'll wear makeup, whatever. But I do love that.
Everything, you know, it would make you different and special. Why not?
Dude, I would wear wigs all the time if I thought that it wouldn't make people just immediately not listen to anything I was playing or doing. I would do it because I would be like, I want a different hairstyle today than I had yesterday. That's fucking awesome.
Well, okay.
My family gets whiplash from me. Like, we went to Japan, and I had a new wig for every single day that we were on that trip. It was like a 10-day trip, and I would switch it up. I had a rotation, and so every time they would look at me, they'd be like, and I was like, yeah, I know, I changed my hair, and they're like, damn, like, and then they'd be like, oh, I like that one, you should wear that one a little more. And so it just was like so funny. But like, you know, my uncle, you know, Steve was like, so tell me about these wigs, like, how do you make it like that? And I'm like, Uncle Steve, you want to wear a wig? I'll let you borrow my wig. And he's like,
oh, he's got fantastic hair though.
Yeah, but you know, he's like, I wish I could cut my fucking hair. Like, it
would be such a serve for him to like dye it like white, or like wear a white wig in the same style, because people would be like, because you know, it would be a cool brand change, but it would be so fresh and cool that I feel like people would be like, oh my god, you know.
I'm gonna throw this out there. Let me shave your head.
Okay, you gotta buy me 2 wigs then. But I get to pick them. You don't get to pick them. You can pick one. I'll pick the other one.
Natalie can pick them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Send me the photos.
Because obviously,
I'm down with that.
You know your wigs already.
Yes.
So Natalie gets to pick the wigs.
Cool.
I
would look horrible with a shaved head. I would look horrible with a shaved head because I have a giant round head.
Me too, but I
look
used to do it all the time. Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Fucking A. I want to do this.
But yeah, we can do that.
But we promised
that.
AJ.
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen.
But
I don't have the money to go to Florida to get a haircut.
Okay. All right.
So yeah. Well, as long as we do it on the show, it's okay.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's good press. It's a write-off business expense.
Yeah, I can donate it, so it'll be good. We'll let everybody know where it's donated, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm in. Yeah. I'm in.
So Natalie, again, we took a ton of your time, and I don't know how many podcasts you've done already, but like
none of them are going to be as cool as this. So sorry.
This was a really good episode. I will say,
or,
it's gotta be.
Or be as long as this. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. But can you let everybody know before we sign off here where they can find everything you?
All right. Well, you can find me on Instagram. I'm most active there. Natalie Nootenboom. No spaces, no underscore. And the way you say my name, pronounce it Natalie Nootenboom. spelled Natalie Nootenboom.
Boom.
And I'm working on my TikTok situation, but don't count on it. And you can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, all streaming platforms, especially YouTube. I run that shit up. And Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. And like I said before, we have this question that we ask people, and we asked you earlier, and it was Lady Gaga, right? And that was the immediate answer, right?
We didn't even get to talk about Lady Gaga.
Which we barely got to talk about, which is amazing. I would like to know that after having all this conversation, like, one thing I will say that I kind of think is your bacon. I think that honestly, like, being you and making statements is your bacon a little bit, you know? Which I think is very cool. So after talking to you, like, I get that kind of a vibe from what you do. I don't think, like, of course music's your bacon. You know, you grew up on it. It was your thing. You know, Ozzy Osbourne songs in the garage. Breaking Benjamin songs, which he has a tattoo of. You know, like, I know that that's your thing. But I feel like just having the freedom and the confidence and the ability to just fucking do whatever you want is also your bacon. And I think that's pretty awesome. But after having this conversation and after thinking about more stuff and talking about everything from paranormal shit to vegan cheese to like everything that we talked about, if I were to ask you right now again, and it can be the same answer, that's fine. What would you say, Natalie? What is your bacon?
I guess opening people's minds, like you said. Basically, I want to open people's minds. I want everyone to feel more open-minded and have, you know, the ability to take on new perspectives. And if I can help somebody do that, or lead that journey or whatever through my music or just witnessing all my differences, that is definitely my bacon.
Awesome. I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you for spending your time with us.
Indeed.
We really do appreciate you. You have an open door policy with the show. Anytime you have anything to promote, anytime you want to do anything, you please come back on.
Hang out with us.
Everybody that's listening, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving us your time, showing us your love and appreciation. Thank you for checking out Natalie and all of her stuff online, checking out all of her music, checking out her cover of Rocket Queen, and staying in touch so you can see what she's got coming up next. And remember to ask yourselves every single day, when you wake up, in the middle of the day, when you're pissed off at the end of work, when you're doing something that you love, just remember to ask yourself and take a second, even if it's just a second. Mm-hmm. The most important question you can ask yourself, what is that question, Mike?
Me?
Yeah.
We usually ask our guests.
Well, you first.
What is your bacon?
She got us.
Oh, she fucking...
What's your bacon? Thank you.
What's your bacon?
You let me have that one.
And we're back. Yeah. I let you have that one.
You did let me have that one.
Because everybody gets one.
I appreciate that. I'm everybody.
So full disclosure, we did not just end that episode. We ended up talking to Natalie for another, like, what, 45 minutes?
Oh yeah, I have no idea at what point the episode ended in our conversation. So whatever you just heard as the ending, I'm not sure where that was.
Yeah, we ended up talking to her for way longer.
Yeah.
And it's probably another 40 minutes or so, but man, she's an interesting character.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, we did have our reservations.
I don't think it was
reservations,
but no. I think it was like, I don't know what this is going to be.
Yes, right.
Because she is just inherently kind of undefined.
Right.
Right?
Yes. That's a great way to put it.
Everything we found about her was definitely pointed at a certain, like, either her modeling or a little bit about her music, and it was very pointed at that thing. And we were like, it's hard to find anything about her personality or what she's going to be like. And she comes from a successful and famous family and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, I don't know what kind of person we're about to talk to. Because I can't find anything that gives me a clue. And,
dude, we talked to a really cool fucking person.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She was a lot of fun. And I hope she comes back. Yeah. We invited her back.
Yeah.
She's welcome.
And I'll say, that didn't mean that we thought it was going to be negative, just that we didn't know.
We didn't
So it was like, I don't know what to prep for or how to approach things. Because if you don't have at least a little bit of a cue on the person by hearing them or seeing an interview where they kind of give away a little bit about them, it's kind of like, okay, how do I approach this? Where's the humor going to be? Where's this going to be? Where's that going to be? And I will say, within 5 seconds of talking to her before we even did 7 questions, it was like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Gloves are off.
Cool. Awesome.
We're good.
Awesome. Because it was like, it was a good 10 minutes of figuring out how to even get her video working. And she was just like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on. We're going to figure it out. And it was just kind of like, okay, cool. Okay, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
because
it could be fun.
We're just going to be 3 artistic people having a conversation, which is what this show is supposed to be.
Exactly. Exactly. So, speaking of artistic people, Jim Z, where do they find you and your things?
Oh, well, if you think I'm artistic, I appreciate it. And you can find me at Jimmy G's Shoes on all the socials. You can find my band Craving Strange at cravingstrange.net, where you will find links to us on all the socials and all the streaming services. We got music coming out all the time, so please check it out. You can always find us. You can find Something Heavy, Mike's band, and you can find all Bacon Is My Podcast stuff over on strangerhoodtv.com. That is the parent network to our show, to our music stuff, to our friends doing some cool shows like the Top 20 with DJ or My Top 5 with Chris Waterbury. All that kind of stuff is over there, so check that out. Where can they find you, bud?
Personally, at me, my own self, Mike, on all the socials, but my band, like you said, Something Heavy, it's on all digital streaming platforms. We've got a new single coming out, I'm sure, eventually.
Yeah.
Soon.
Definitely.
I mean, you see, like, okay, so you don't see this anymore, but usually you see there's like this little whiteboard here where we have our recording
framed things a lot
progress.
nicer.
We changed things.
We did a little change.
You wanted to you said this a while ago. You were like, I don't want that whiteboard in there.
I did.
But
I know.
It's fine. It's just progress, and there's no progress happening.
Right, but I still like this.
But now there's progress.
If you can't see this, go to strangertv.com just to see it and tell us if you think it's an improvement.
I agree. But yeah, we got singles in the works. I got another thing that I want to talk to you about off the air.
Oh, cool. So you guys won't know anything about it.
Not yet.
But someday.
Eventually. But yeah, Something Heavy music on all the social streaming social platforms.
Yes.
And then Something Heavy on all the social all the digital streaming platforms. We should end the show.
Hell yeah. Check out baconismypodcast.com for all that kind of stuff. Find our band, Bacon Is My Passion. Mm-hmm. We are recording, like we said, a brand new
Twitch.
EP. We're on Twitch live every
TV.
Thursday night, twitch.tv/baconismypod. You can check that out and see us recording this whole process, the whole songwriting, recording, tracking, everything. Check it out there.
I got notes.
If you want to help us out in any kind of meaningful way, you can either jump on baconismypodcast.com and buy a t-shirt. Check that out. Buy something from one of our sponsors. Check that out. Or find us on Patreon, patreon.com/baconismypodcast. And you can help the show. You get extra stuff. You get
early access
to things,
extended episodes,
extended cooking, all kinds of weird shit. So check that out. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the family. And always remember to ask yourself every single day.
You do it.
Every single day.
Do it.
What is it that makes your day better? What is it that makes your night better? What is it that makes everything go a little bit easier in your life? Ask yourself. Just take a minute every day.
Make them wait for it. Wait for it. Go for it.
What's your bacon?
World peace.
Peace.